Well, we have completely rearranged the lineup this week because everybody seems to be going different directions at once, including me. I was the one who was the most messed up, and we're going to have Bradford Ferguson on Tuesday and Nicholas will come on Thursday. So we'll completely throw everything into confusion. So Nicholas, we
Thank you.
had some breaking news just a few minutes ago.
I'm Bradford.
Did I say, yeah, see, Tuesday, I can't do it right. Bradford. We have breaking news on Tuesday, which actually you and I didn't discuss in the green room. And the most recent breaking news is that Elon Musk has dropped his lawsuit against OpenAI and Sam Altman. So that just broke about half an hour ago. So I have to admit that I've never covered that lawsuit. I don't think on the channel at all, because I thought when I read over it, I thought it was I thought it had very little chance of success.
And why is that? Do you remember?
Well, the main reason is because it wasn't written down. The part that was written down did not say what Elon wanted it to say. So the actual articles of incorporation in no way, shape, or form validated or confirmed what Elon thought that the corporation's mission was.
Oh, okay.
And so that's okay. You can have contracts that don't say what you want them to say if you can prove that there was an understanding that was outside the contract, or that understanding could be incorporated into the reading of the contract, but that was something that was said extra contract. Anyway, but I just felt like if Sam Altman didn't think that that was their understanding, and that's how he testified in court, that's all he's going to have to say. Because they got no other witness, they've got no writing. So I thought this is not going to go well. So anyway, that was going to be coming. They were going to start the actual court part of this activity, I think tomorrow, the next day. And so Elon has dropped out as they say, at the courthouse steps. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was pretty interesting. But the thing that you brought up is that there is a post on X right now that's listing all kinds of achievements that the company that Tesla has made since they started in business, that Elon Musk was largely responsible for. And anybody that follows Tesla can go take a look at that on X and go down that list, and they're probably not going to be shocked by any of them. But there was a new one right at the end that is just kind of, stuck in there at the end of the whole list. It's the very last one, which said,
deployed 2 Optimus bots performing tasks in the factory autonomously.
Yeah. So every one of those words has meaning.
Yeah.
Deployed 2, not 1, bots in the factory itself, not in a lab, not pretending to be in the factory, but actually in the factory. And then autonomously. So not operated by some kind of operator standing next to them or behind them, but actually doing the work autonomously. So when you saw that, your eyes lit up like that.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. I hope they're doing useful work.
Yes.
So my assumption is they're doing useful work. Maybe they're not doing it at the speed we want yet, but this is still a positive step that Tesla has moved in this direction, and hopefully they'll begin to open the floodgates soon as far as deploying into more factories and just getting the help they need.
So as you know, my name on X, not my name, but the actual immediate profile information after my name is the Optimus Optimist. And so I'm always very optimistic. And I've been saying that they've had, that they would deploy these robots in the factory. I've been saying it for months. I thought it might even happen last year, not this year, but so I'm only 6 months off. But the fact that they're deployed now does not shock me at all. The fact that they're doing the work autonomously does not shock me at all. But now I'm going to sound a little less optimistic. I could be wrong about this as well, but here's my theory. My theory is that it'll probably take a month before, now they may have been working for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we don't know, or a month, whatever. But I think that they're going to work for at least a month without adding more. And my reasoning is they need to prove they can work long shifts. They need to prove that the other employees around them can integrate with them, socialize, and make that work. Make sure that they're doing their work consistently. Find out what kind of breakdowns that there are, if there are any, in terms of mechanically, how often do they have to do some kind of maintenance or upgrades or complete repairs or et cetera, et cetera. And because, these things are worth a lot if they do 1 shift a day, but if they do 4 shifts, then they're worth 4 times as much. So having them really work, for long, long hours, would be a real plus. So that's my guess. My guess is at least a month or so to figure those kinds of things out. And then if they have the answers they want, I would think they would deploy a lot.
I don't see why they couldn't get those answers within a week or so. And really just kind of swarm the project a bit, with the quality check of the work, interviews with the workers. I'm a little more optimistic about it. I'm curious which ones they have working in the factory. So I wonder if it's the ones with the older generation hands, because I'm guessing those can still do decent work.
Yeah.
But they likely have the new hands now. So I'm curious to learn more. I wonder why they announced it. So Farzad was speculating, maybe it'd be a good topic of discussion at the annual shareholders meeting. Maybe people will see it at the end on the Cybertruck line in Texas. There's people that are going to get a private tour with Elon and Franz von Holzhausen, the vehicle designer. So maybe they'll see him there. So that maybe they're front running this a little bit. I'm going to take a little credit though for this.
Okay.
This morning, I don't know why, but I decided to wear my Optimus t-shirt. So you're welcome. Butterfly flaps its wings in Carmel, Indiana, and we get this news from Tesla.
That's right. That's right. So I'm also going to go a little bit out on a limb on the more optimistic side, and I'm going to suggest that they are doing the highest level work that they can possibly contemplate, that they're not just trying to move an object from point A to point B, or take an item off the line and put it into a box, that they're trying to work with some complexity. But then I'm also going to give my advice, because I never do this. Oh yeah, I was a consultant for 16 years. So yeah, I do give advice a lot. So my advice to Elon and to the team is put out a memo to everybody within your world and say, who would like to have one of these? And where would you use it in the factory? So, let the factory workers, the supervisors, et cetera, throughout all of the Elonosphere, throw their hat into the ring that they want one to come to their area, that they have this recommended application for it, and that they would be thrilled to be part of the process of training and socializing it, et cetera. So there's my advice for the day.
I think they've already begun getting that feedback from Tesla employees, as far as I know. I think it'd be good if they continue to do that within Tesla, but also with the Tesla suppliers. But I think it'd be great to do it with other connections that they have in industry. So yeah, I think that's a fabulous idea. And it's almost like when Elon tweeted about, what features should the Cybertruck have?
Right.
And he got 26,000 replies or something like that. And then people accused Elon and Tesla of not doing any consumer surveys or panels or whatever prior to the Cybertruck unveil. Elon did plenty of getting feedback from people.
Yeah, I'm not sure I've ever said it when you've been on the program or not, but I have. I think it's in the Elon Musk method. I know I've talked a lot about it on my show quite a bit. That one of the major things that Elon has that I wish I'd had when I was a manufacturer is this intimate relationship with the consumer, with the people that are using his products. Man, it's mind-blowing how opportunistic that is. And it's shocking to me that Ford and General Motors, well, forget them. Every manufacturer in the world should be taking a clue from that and be on X all day, every day, not all day, every day, but they should really be putting forth a massive effort on X. Not their employees, not their supervisors, no, the CEOs, the founders, the ones that are generating the brand new ideas. They should have great, efforts going on X, because you're right. Instead of spending $100,000 on some kind of an organization to come in and put together a consumer testing group, which might or might not give you any results that you care about with 9 or 10 hand-selected individuals. No, you want millions of people to be interacting with you on X saying, your stuff stinks. Why does your car not do this? Of course, it would be amazing.
I like the idea of X being the place for that, because my experience of X is that it's for people who are early adopters, who are nerds and geeks and all that good stuff. I think that's a fantastic idea and something that people should do more regularly. I might have to do some of that tonight.
That's right. You can start putting stuff out about your own company.
Yeah. I guess though, like, if you're asking questions, some people get mad about that on X, like, oh, you're just asking questions to, farm engagement or whatever. But I think it's fine to ask, questions and, be curious, that kind of thing. Curiosity is a superpower.
It is a superpower, and Elon has said that over and over again. I think it may be the foundational principle underlying what makes people successful. So I think it starts there. If you are curious, then you will go out and try to assuage that curiosity. And that might mean reading, it might mean experimentation, it might be going, as I did as a child, going into the woods, going down to the creek and watching trapdoor spiders and watching the butterflies and catching them and naming them and blah, blah, blah. But that curiosity, has to be expressed in some way, has to be assuaged in some way. The more of that curiosity, that usually begets more curiosity. The more you learn, the more you want to know. And then over time, then ideas start to pop. Okay, I've watched this trapdoor spider. Oh my gosh, maybe I could employ that trapdoor spider idea in this product, or this new concept of a way to do something, because you have now got that kind of knowledge. I felt like I had another book just on that subject, but it turns out that there hasn't been a lot of studies done about curiosity. Is that weird or what? It's true. I mean, I really dug into it. Not many studies on curiosity. And that was kind of a shocker to me. So I'm curious, what do you think happens 2 days from now? It's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a shareholder meeting.
Yeah.
I've said that I think it's a high percentage chance that Elon's compensation passes. I think it's like a 99% chance that it'll pass. The Texas vote has a much higher hurdle. I think Tesla's trying to do what they can to rally votes for that. I think that's why the proxy firm was engaged, call everybody and all that. It's just a much higher hurdle to get, I think, at least 50% of the shares to be voted, or 50% plus one share or something like that. And I think if Elon's comp passes, I think there is going to be a party like immediately. And um, I'm not, I'm forgetting the order of it, but they do announce at the shareholder meeting what passes and what doesn't pass.
Yeah,
Um, I don't think it, I think it comes before Elon's remarks. So
I
they
believe.
have like the corporate business, and the various, shareholder, votes are described. So like, what the proposals are for, and these activist people get 3 minutes to speak, and it's very annoying and slows
Yeah.
down the shareholder vote, or the shareholder meeting. And I'll have to review the last one, but I wonder if we find out like right after that.
I think
Um,
so. I think it happens right after that.
yeah.
It's my recollection. That's kind of the normal way that these meetings are run. So that'll be super interesting, obviously. So will Optimus walk out on the stage and vocally read the results?
Whoa, that'd be cool.
I mean, it's time for Optimus to have a voice. So that'd be a perfect time. He could come out
Mhm.
on stage and he could just read, this is how the vote turned out.
I think it'd be cool if shareholders could somehow interact with Optimus or
Yeah.
see. I mean, that might be it. We don't want them like pushing or destroying Optimus, but maybe be able to see Optimus do work or walk around at the shareholder meeting. That'd be pretty awesome.
I was thinking that maybe he and Elon, the Optimus and Elon could have a conversation that maybe the Optimus voice would be Elon's voice. And possibly they could try to out snark each other. They could just, back and forth, So be Elon's voice and Elon's personality, and Elon could fight. He could do a thing with himself, seeing who can be the funniest. I don't know. I have these dreams. So the stock, the Tesla stock has been down yesterday and today. I was early Monday morning. I thought maybe it would be up, that people would try to front run what seems like a positive vote. I quickly changed my mind on Monday, and I continue to think that that the risk, the potential loss from the risk, meaning the stock going down,
Mhm.
and the long-term consequences of a miss, of a no vote, probably are more significant than the benefits of a positive vote. And therefore there might be more folks thinking I need to take a little risk off the table going into the vote, rather than people thinking I'll go in and see if I can't benefit from a positive.
Mhm. Yeah, I think that's possible. This is my opinion, not investing advice. Our full disclaimers at hffinancial.com/disclaimer. Um, I think it's highly unlikely it fails.
Yeah.
So if this is the only reason why people are hedging or whatever, I'm not sure if it's gonna work in people's favor to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's always the thing. Of course, I called it betting. It's the kind of thing that I am the least likely to do, is try to bet on a one-day circumstance, unless I've seen it, unless it's just too obvious. But it was pretty funny because Larry Goldberg is always talking about the fact that the easiest bet to make is that you bet going into any meeting that Tesla puts on, the quarterly meetings or the big announcement meetings or whatever. He says the best bet you can make is to be on the bull side going into it, and then and then buy a put on the day before and watch the stock go down on the day of and the day after. And yet last meeting, if he had made that bet, he would have got crushed. So you never, these one-day bets are always a difficult one.
Yeah, wasn't it last shareholder meeting? Elon had the interview with David Faber on CNBC right after that meeting. And the first two topics they hit was like how affordable Tesla cars are now. And even then they were priced lower than the average car
Yeah.
in the US as far as like the three. Um, and he talked about safety as well and how safe Tesla cars are. And then you had also the NACS announcements that were happening around that time. Yeah, so it had quite the run after that shareholder meeting.
So here's another piece of advice for Tesla. You've done such a great job in promoting the yes vote. Hire those same people to go out and sell some Model Ys this year. They've been sending out emails and putting together lists of good reasons to do things and getting people to go on CNBC. And I mean, I think we should have that same kind of an effort, because I just really like to see a big beat on the unit sales this year compared to where we are now. That would really be fun. Not because it would make me any money. It would just be fun to watch the shorts just get crushed again.
Yeah. I'm not sure it's needed. They seem to be onto something with their financing offer on Model 3 and Y.
Uh-huh.
For Model Y, they lowered the financing to 1% in May, and that ended at the end of May, and then they raised it to 2%. And so, depending on the length of the loan and what model it is, they're offering financing rates between 2 to 4%. And that seems to be a lever that they're playing around with. So, they're looking at that incremental demand that's happening every day, and they're tweaking these financing offers. So I think they're onto something with this. Americans are really focused on monthly payments when it comes to both housing and their vehicles. So I'm curious to see where that goes. And supposedly the sales of Model Y were like really, really strong in May. So I think they sold through their inventory pretty strongly.
Cool. Well, I think whoever talked to the past and future President Trump the other day and got him to utter the words, I think Elon Musk is amazing, and I think battery electric cars are amazing. If we could get him to say that a little more frequently, that might be something that would help as well.
Yes, but he also implied that electric vehicles sold in the US are made in China.
Oh, no.
And if you look at the top 10
Yeah.
EVs sold in the US, 8 of the top 10 are assembled in the US.
Right.
And those same 8, the parts content, the largest parts supplier is in the US. So the vast majority of the parts are from the US. So I almost feel like some people are being brainwashed into thinking that EVs in the US are coming from China, and they're not.
No, well, at least we know that there's 3.
And Trump
5.
Trump keeps talking about range, like that the range in a Tesla isn't enough.
Yeah.
Do you own a Tesla, Randy?
Yes, of course. I have a 3.5-year-old Model Y.
Okay. So like out of 100, like how many times have you worried about your range?
One time in Death Valley, we didn't take our adapter. We just didn't think of it. It was brand new. We'd only had it a few weeks, and we just thought, why would we need this adapter? We won't need the adapter. And of course, the only charging station in the city, in the little town, it's like 3 hotels or whatever in the middle of Death Valley, they only had a non-Tesla, charger.
Okay. The J
Whatever it's called.
1772 adapter or whatever it is. Yeah.
So the morning we woke up in the morning and drove straight away out to this closest city, got charged up. But by the time we drove all the way back into the city, tooled around Death Valley during the day and then headed back to Baker or whatever it is, wherever you get back on the freeway to go home, we were also, counting our, wondering if we were going to find out how AAA was going to handle the problem.
Uh, you're drafting behind a semi.
Right,
Yeah.
we were drafting at 7. We were going up these hills and it's going down, and then we go down the hill to go back up. So yeah, we've experienced it, but not frequently, and shh, don't tell anybody this, but 3 times we've been under 0.
Whoa.
And did you know that Tesla has 20 miles built in? Now, don't count on that, but we have gone about 16 of those 20.
Wow. That's pretty intense.
That's pretty intense. And that was just because we were not being very smart. That was just locally where the car just wasn't charged up enough to make the trip. And we were like, okay, well, we're 5 miles from home and it's already at 0, but that's enough.
Yeah. Yeah. So most people don't even go on a long trip every month.
No, we don't. No.
But like people are worried about that 1% of the time they're going on a long trip. And it's like in most long trips I've gone on, there has been no worry about range. But I have had like 1 in 100, kind of like you, where one charger is a stretch from another or something like that happens. But we make it fine. It might delay our trip like an extra 15 minutes or something like that.
Right.
Sometimes it could be worse, but it's not a big deal. And like all the time you save versus like having to go to the gas station, having to track oil changes or get your oil change, getting your brakes changed and tracking your brakes. You don't have to do that with Teslas.
California smog device every other year. That's the worst. That's the worst. California smog device. Yeah. So
all right, let's get back on track. Sorry.
We'll go back on track. Yeah. So anyway, so the stock was down for the last couple of days. Some people are saying it'll be up or down 7%. Based on the decision on Thursday. That is apparently what do you call it? If you use the options,
implied with the options,
implied with the options are saying. But is that up and down 7% for what it was Monday before the market opened, or is that up or down 7% from now? And if we've already lost whatever it is, like 4% the last 2 days, does that mean we might be up 11% after the market if we get the yes?
That's not quite how the options work, but it'd be nice to think that, yeah.
So anyway, I'm not 100%. I don't remember what you said, but I'm not 100% sure personally that it'll go up at all if it's a yes. Some people think it'll go up, a good $10 or $15, but I'm not convinced. Apple, they had right after their earnings yesterday, they didn't do so well, but today they did really, really, really well. So a day later, people seem to think that this marriage between themselves and OpenAI is a good thing.
Yeah, so I don't think it was earnings, but it was their event where
that's true. That's right. Worldwide Developer Conference. Yes.
Yeah, so they met with all the software nerds and people who make software to like sell on the App Store or to integrate with various Apple products. And what they announced was like a Siri that's actually useful. That I think a lot of Apple users have been waiting for.
No kidding.
So like a Siri that kind of understands, more what you're saying, isn't going to like refuse to do things that you think it should do. So like where you might have some random message in your messages where it's talking about lunch tomorrow, and you can ask Siri, where am I supposed to be at lunch tomorrow? And it'll figure it out. And just other things with your schedule or maps or like figuring out when you need to go to the airport, when you need to leave for it. So you could just ask Siri. So instead of like going to maps and then typing in the airport and then, looking at that, it'll just tell you straight away. So it seems like it's going to be more of a useful assistant and help people be a little more organized and productive. I'm certainly looking forward to that. And most of the model is going to be run inside the iPhone. So
Yeah.
like Elon's spreading all this fear,
Uncertainty and doubt.
uncertainty and doubt about the privacy around the iPhones, but generally Apple privacy has been pretty good. They're more hardcore than anyone else on the privacy front. Apple security is generally better too.
Oh yeah.
And it's only limited use cases where your data is actually going to OpenAI for a question. So they're not like sending all your data to OpenAI for OpenAI to answer your question.
Yeah.
I think Elon has fears that like somehow OpenAI is going to be able to read data in the Tesla app or read data in X. I think that might be what Elon's concern is about. So
I think he's just concerned with anything that that OpenAI touches. I think he's just worried that there's no
yeah.
that I don't know. Some comparison was made to this recent problem with a voice that was stolen. So the whole problem around the voice of OpenAI or the
Yeah.
ChatGPT voice. So Scarlett Johansson, I guess, is sued over that, or is going to sue, or might sue, or something.
So what about a partnership between xAI and Tesla in the car where you're transmitting data to
Yeah,
xAI?
yeah.
I mean, are there security concerns with that?
So not if Elon owns both. It's the good guy, it's the good guy theory. So if we're going to have somebody controlling everything in the world, we want that person to be a good guy.
Uh-huh.
Unfortunately, as has been said so often before, no offense, Elon, because I do think you're a good guy. Unfortunately, you can't know for sure that somebody's going to continue to be a good guy if they're handed the precious, if they're given an opportunity to touch precious.
So just one real quick thing that interesting to me about what Apple did is there's various use cases of the AI with Siri, and what Apple allegedly did is they did fine tuning of their model for each use case. So there's like I think over 80 or 100 various use cases, whether it's remembering something from your schedule or email or whatever. And so I'm optimistic it's going to be fairly useful, but we'll see.
Indeed, I'm optimistic too. I will say that I have been disappointed by Apple so many times in the last 5 years that it's hard for me to get real excited until it really happens. I've even gone to the point where I waited 3 years this time to change out my iPhone, where I would have never gone more than 2 years, because there just hasn't been that much exciting. I'm Apple all the way. You are watching this video on an Apple laptop that is my 17th or so. I don't know how many I've owned. About every 3 or so years, I trade in my laptop. I used to have when I had an office, I had desktop Apples. I'm an Apple guy, but not such great breakthroughs recently.
I have to admit, I'm ignorant about Google's Assistant, that is likely more integrated with the Android phone. I don't know how that compares to what Apple just revealed. So like Apple might be catching up to where Android's at already. I don't know. Curious if people could comment on that. All the Android users. Can you just talk to your droid and have it kind of figure out and remember things for you, and all these other things that Apple revealed.
Absolutely. Well, anything else you're passionate about right now before we look at the numbers?
I am heading to a big Tesla meetup in Michigan on
Oh, yeah.
Saturday.
Okay,
There's
a
going to be a
lot
number of
yeah.
people there.
Yeah.
I think Brian White's going to be there. Dirty Tesla, one of the longtime beta people.
John Gibbs,
John Gibbs,
Walter.
Dr. Know-It-All, Scott Walter, Mr. Automation and Robots. Matt Smith will be there, and really good financial analyst, and I work with him, and yeah, I'm excited about that. They're going for a really big Tesla light show. I'll likely be taking my Cybertruck up
Nice.
to the event. I think there's going to be a lot of Cybertrucks there.
I imagine.
Yep.
That'll be fun for sure. Yeah, that sounds like it's going to be an amazing event. I'm almost tempted to jump in a plane myself, but I'm not going to. All right, so we have Tesla down $3.13 today, down another 12 cents in the after hours. The overall market down 120. I'm sorry, the Dow down 120. NASDAQ was up 151. Heavily influenced by Apple being up 14, and Nvidia though was down 87 cents. So I don't know. I guess the also Microsoft was up almost 5. Meta was almost up 5. So quite a bit of positive activity in the Mag 7. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Let's go ahead and take a look at the other numbers. We have got, what happened to the bonds day? Did you pay any attention to the bonds?
No.
Okay, let's see what happened with the bonds. So the bonds had been down last time I looked. Oh yeah, see, they're down to 4.4 now, up 0.4 of a basis point in the pre-market to 4.406, but they were down to 4.402 apparently at the end of the day. So did drop off pretty well. 2-year up 0.6 in the pre-market of 1 basis point, and the 2-month up 1.2 basis points. So a lot of shifting around going into tomorrow's CPI. At first, I thought that that the bond market was clearly indicating they thought it was going to be a big miss because the interest rate that inflation was going to be okay or down because we were seeing a drop in the interest rates on the bonds, but that seems to have stopped now, at least in the pre-market going into tomorrow. What do you think is going to happen with CPI tomorrow? Any idea? Do you pay attention?
I hope we get a positive surprise, but I'm not holding my breath.
You're not holding your breath. I'm trying to, in looking at other people that are reporting things that have to do with inflation, I haven't been seeing anybody saying that inflation is getting better. So I'm trying to figure out where it would come from. The Federation of Independent Business, reported this morning, and the small business people are saying, no, we're still raising our prices and we're still getting price increases on our raw materials. So I just don't know where it's going to come from. I can't. It's not going to come from rents. The rent, what do you call it? The occupancies are now back up to 94%. So you're not going to see reduction. I don't know where it's going to come from. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Oil was actually moving back up this morning, and it continues to move up. Brent is now back over 82 cents again. I mean, $82 again, and Texas Intermediate 78.19. A lot of movement in the oil market. People trying to figure out what the OPEC people are really actually planning to do. And so there's been a lot of confusion. They've made a lot of different statements back and forth. But if oil continues up like this, that is not a good indicator for inflation. It's the wrong direction. Natural gas has finally found a top. It went over $3 this morning. It's up to $3 and apparently up to $3.31. I'm sorry, $3.12. That's what it would have been, $3.12. But it is a little bit down in the pre-market, down 0.67. But man, it has been on a run. Again, people had stopped, a lot of producers had stopped producing because the price was so low, but it's way over what they're hoping for now. So I would think people would start to open the spigot again, as they say. Anything about this that tickles your fancy?
Nope, not really.
Okay, gold up 5 in the pre-market, 23.31, pretty much where it's been. It's been moving up and down in a small range right now. Silver 29, same thing, in a range now after having come down quite a bit, both of them last Friday.
How about the Bitcoin?
Bitcoin, let's go over to Bitcoin. Bitcoin, dropped like a rock today, right? Or maybe you already knew that. 2,423 points, 3.48% in a single day to 67,181. So I don't know. I don't know. I have nothing to say. Equity pre-market. The Dow down 24, S&P down 0.75, NASDAQ continuing up another 15. So the NASDAQ now going like it did a few months ago, going up in a down, with the Dow going down and the NASDAQ going up. So it's a reversion back to a few months ago where that was happening almost every day. So it's all going to be about CPI, the Fed, and the PPI, and the Tesla meeting. It seems like there's one more thing in the next 2 days. There's a lot in the next 2 days that is going to roil the markets. So it should be really, really interesting.
Hopefully it'll be good when it's all over.
There you go. There you go. That's what we hope for. All right, Bradford. Well, I think that's all we got for the folks today. And so I hope you have a great time up in Muskegon. Say hello to all the boys for me and the girls. I guess there'll be some girls. You didn't mention a single girl, though. There must be some women going up there too, right?
There will be women there, I hope. A lot of the speakers are white males, but a lot of the creators on YouTube are white males, but or just males when it comes to Tesla and Elon Musk. Men can be nerdy. There's a lot of women nerds out there too, but
yeah.
If you look at the number of men who are students for it and into certain types of engineering, it seems to draw men nerds.
Yes, there's just something about those numbers. My wife is a English professor. She says that I only care about the numbers, not the words. And yet I've written 13 books, but I understand what she's trying to say. I do love my numbers.
Yep.
All right. Thank you. Oh, you got something else?
Yeah, just check us out on rebellionaire.com if you're curious about what we do. And, we help out people who have concentrated positions in both Tesla and NVIDIA.
Oh, it's now and NVIDIA.
Yeah.
I'll listen to you. I was thinking about broadening the conversation on my channel generally to include NVIDIA. And then I thought, I don't know anything about NVIDIA.
Yeah.
I at least pretend like I know something.
NVIDIA has created a lot of millionaires.
Yeah, I guess so.
And it's not just NVIDIA employees.
Yeah, yes, no, a lot of investors, a whole bunch of investors have done very, very well. All right, thank you, Bradford. And I won't call you Nicholas anymore tonight. It's been great. And to all of you, it's been great talking to you.